I'm Muslim Hilali. Basically, I'm a furniture designer since 2007, and I start visual merchandising since 2012. So now it's like 8 years, almost 8 years. I worked with different brands, mainly in visual merchandising in Middle East, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Dubai, UAE. So the topic for today, we're gonna focus the most on Middle East, GCC countries, and can be as well applicable to the rest of the countries, أكيد يعني. So I've been a visual merchandiser and activity coordinator. Activity means campaigns and events and etc. Then I got visual merchandising manager and activity manager, campaign manager, then regional VM manager, and now I do my own work together as well with the pandemic that it happened. I was so lucky to start my own business. So in today's topic, we're gonna go through a couple of main points. First, to understand the visual merchandising, what is the visual merchandising and how important is visual merchandising للماركت, لللايفستايل, للcustomers, وكيف we can build a vision through visual merchandising that apply as well to the brand vision, of course. We're going to look in this point the main needs in job description for visual merchandiser, briefly, not in details. What do we need from visual merchandisers? الفاليو بتاعت visual merchandisers in the brand positioning. Well, second topic will be the future of retail stores. So عارفين كلنا إنه this pandemic ربي يعافي الناس الكل إنه this pandemic has affected in a way or another our way of work, our way of life. I don't believe it did big change. The change was happening anyway. It's only this pandemic just accelerated بس شوية يعني. We're gonna reach this level يعني within the next couple of 2 to 3 years يعني anyway. So in this topic, we're gonna look as well as what are the new skills that visual merchandisers and retailers need to develop. The bending between the online visual merchandising or online shops and offline shops. Of course, this is the major topic for this point. So, what is visual merchandising? Briefly, visual merchandising is one main marketing tool that supports the big umbrella of marketing in the store. Presenting the range, the products of that the store or the brand, presenting services, as well presenting the business needs, the customer needs, means the local adaptation as example. So visual merchandising in Saudi Arabia, in Middle East. Let's start with Middle East and then we go sharper into Saudi Arabia. Visual merchandising in Middle East is very developed in certain countries and in progress in some others. Certain countries like UAE and Qatar and it's developing really fast as well in Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and Bahrain. Oman as well, it's still following, but hopefully it starts to be present in Oman. Visual merchandising is a great tool to translate whatever data that we have on customers into design and into fulfilling their needs. The techniques, there are techniques that we use and guidelines that we use to present the product in a way that you don't spend much time in searching for the product, you just find it. We steer the customers through the walk inside the stores with certain techniques in layout. We use hooks, we use graphics, we use certain type of bulk presentation, display of the products. So this is briefly what is visual merchandising. So why do we need visual merchandising? It's mainly 4 points. Why do we need visual merchandising? The first point is, of course, to maximize sales. We are in a commercial business, so the main role of visual merchandiser is to support the rest of the departments in this business to maximize sales, to strengthen the brand identity and positioning in the market. Every brand has its own identity. Adidas have its own logo, its own colors, materials, style, etc. IKEA have the same, but it's IKEA. So when you go and do your shopping, you know that you're buying from IKEA, as an example. Adapting to the local market. And this is like, it sounds easy to do, but it's not easy to implement it. It needs lots of knowledge, lots of skills regarding that market. The Saudi market is so different from the Japanese market. Behavior, shopping behavior, culture, backgrounds, ethnicity, etc. So all these and many others we consider to when we do our designs and when we plan our implementation. And the most inspiring point in our job is to inspire and exceed customer expectations. This point require a lot of experience, require a lot of especially design skills and knowing your customers, your country where you work in and your area of profession. So visual merchandising, the two main categories of retail that visual merchandiser are available in and really exceeding in are home furnishing and fashion. In home, of course, all these require good knowledge of products that you have, different sizes, different materials, different function, different objective of products. A chair is different from a bed, of course. And as well in fashion, we look after, fashion is the main conductor of trends. So working in fashion require a lot of eye for details following up on trends and styles, material expertise, and require specialists in all the sites, from lighting to space management to communication, graphic and marketing, and etc. Space of the stores are different. Usually furniture stores are like much bigger than fashion stores, and electronics as well. And we find as well too many different areas where we work as visual merchandiser: medical, sports, kids, brands, food, which is really developing lately, especially with this pandemic. Food retail is boosting, especially online. Congratulations to whoever have food store. Electronics, of course, and anything organic, sanitary, and technology, Apple, Samsung, etc. In visual merchandising, we have so many different areas that we play in, from regular shops that we all know, to pop-ups, to commercial design, events as well, and etc. Stands, booths, POS, point of sales. POP is point of purchase. Temporarily, we place it for about a couple of months, up to 6 months. Sometimes very rare to find these stores for more than 1 year. Not really that much. So, as visual merchandisers, we are part of a big team that require from us certain objectives, that require as well from us certain working methods. And usually in retail business, we usually have 4, sometimes 3 departments, sometimes 4, sometimes 5. But I don't believe in more than 5 departments. We have sales, logistics, customer relations, and creative department, which is visual merchandisers, interior designers, graphic designers, and of course, workshop within the creative department. There are certain rules that how we work together to secure the best outcome from the full team. Of course, this is observed from the management team, of course. There is like a relationship between our department, the creative department, with sales, with customer relations, and as well with logistics. When we plan, we consider all the areas, and we consider as well the management direction, vision. So, as a creative department, we look after design, we look after lifestyle, inspiration, commerciality, range presentation, product presentation, display. Trends, we always dig and look after what's trendy. Local adaptation, big underline under this. Positioning of the brand. It's really high competition in the market when it comes to positioning. Every market has its own strategies, guidelines. All in one objective is to be available for as first in the list for our customers. We look after layout. Layout of the store is one main tool in our commerciality, how we sell. We do planning of course, events, campaigns, sale period, product knowledge. We are expert in product knowledge. Means we know the material, we know the use, we know the shape, colors, etc. And the brand identity. As we work in a brand, we need always to secure that this brand is presented and acknowledged from all our customers. So all this is mainly to secure the best of shopping experience for our customers and to secure that the brand we work with is on top of Google search, as an example, in the top of the head. So, as any other department, as business, we look after numbers and we have objective targets to achieve. We use different tools, so many different tools. I just placed here some of them, not all of them, but the main ones. We use surveys that help us to recognize the customer satisfaction. We use projects, surveys during projects, sometimes in specific areas, and loyalty. I will not go through all of them, but probably I'll share with you, Muhammad, later on the file, and maybe whoever asks for it, either you can contact me or Muhammad from ArchiNet. We use sales figures as it's one of our objectives, our target, and our scheme, ups and downs of our money curve. Customer reviews, it's so important. These reviews that help us to recognize where are our cold areas that we need fastly work on it. There is also mystery shopper. Whoever in retail knows what's a mystery shopper. He's the guy that we don't know who and come and do kind of shopping experience and give us feedback. Stock level can tell us a lot about our work, if we're selling good, if we're not. Visitation as well, it's one of our main job is to push and augment our visitation to the store. In the physical shop, the main media that we use in physical shop is the shop window. It's the first tool that we call customers to enter into our shops. We use our conversion rate, customers who enter to the shop and converted to buyers. Brand positioning, this is something some knows, and whoever still not yet in the retail business, they will meet it anyway. Brand positioning means when I ask you, let's say for dresses, for clothes, where do you prefer to go? So the first thing that you say, the first brand that you say, that's what we're looking after. If you're looking after Dolce & Gabbana, can be the first one, but usually high brands are not the top. The most expensive are not the top. Brand management, the feedbacks that the management team give to the department, in the country level and in-store level. The growth rate, how much we sell comparing to last year, how much our stock level comparing to last year, everything comparing to previously. Social media. The last two that I'm mentioning now, social media and influencers, are very new to the market, to the business. Social media has great impact in telling us exactly what do we need to work on, if we're doing great, if we're not, in all the for all the departments. So why do we need VM? VMs are considered brand ambassadors. We present the brand in the last line of presenting the brand. We are the endpoint of design. The designer who did this chair have an idea, and we need to present that idea to the customer and make it, ensure that it reach to the customers. Why is it expensive? Why is it mid-price, etc.? We have to consider all of this. As well, it's we are considered as silent sales, as long as we sell products, but we don't speak to customers. We only present to them in visual. 96% of customers buy through visual, just to highlight the value of visual merchandisers. And if your brand is not really selling as you're expecting, maybe you need to look after this as well, your visual part. And we are considered as design thinker. We always improve, we always adapt, and we always, as now all the world is like open to each other. We need to secure a certain level of our presentation to be valued and appreciated as well to the different cultures. In Saudi Arabia and GCC and Saudi Arabia, it's one of the top areas in the world that it's accepting or receiving different backgrounds and different nationalities, ethnicities, cultures. So we need to think in all these aspects. We are a storyteller. When you design a home, when you design a room, we look after details, and we need to know deep the personalities, the characters of our shoppers. This room cannot be for every customer that it enters to the shop. This room has its specific customer or range or group of customers. We innovate. We, as in IKEA, there is like great value. Used to be dare to be different. Now it's changed, but we dare to, as visual merchandisers, we dare to innovate and rise the level of competition in the market. Sometimes it's a local brand that has great product presentation and has a great return of investment, visitation, etc., money at the end of the year. Sometimes you find it even better than a very known brand, simply because this brand brings new visuals to the customers, new idea that highly exceed the expectations, that makes customers happy. They find themselves, their identity, personality in that presentation. Sorry. And we look after people visual influence. Means as we don't speak to customers, we have to have tools that help customers understand the product. If you're looking for specific product, that's what we do. We present you that product without looking that much after it in the shop. You know where to find it, how to find it, and you know all the details about that. The visual influence as well, we use psychology, how we affect on people, how we make them happy, how we make them satisfied to enter to the shop and start their buying process. We steer them, we drive them, and we support their buying process through different graphics, through different grouping, product presentation. Of course, as we are part of design field, we need to have design skills. We need to know the basics of design principles. It's mandatory. Sometimes some people don't really recognize what's design principles and how it affects on others, but it affects. I can share maybe later on some researches how this influence even the money and loyalty and visitation. We use guidelines dependent on each brand. Each brand has its own guidelines and strategies that help us to present the brand itself. We are negotiator. As retail partners, first with our colleagues in other departments, that's where it starts the negotiation. We have a vision. We need to smoothen it, and we need to bend it together with the brand vision. We all have our common vision. As well, as part of this system, there is a small part for visual merchandiser vision to develop the brand, to develop the shopping experience, to develop the customer, our customer. We can educate even our customers, how they buy and what to buy. Small example, when you go to furniture store and to buy furniture for your kids, of course, if you have kids, there are certain criteria to buy children beds, for example, or any other furniture. The type of glue used, the type of wood, the type of materials, fabric, etc., foam, etc. So this is how we educate our customers. We influence. We surprise and we exceed expectations in order to reach our customer trust. If your customer trusts you, then your customer is loyal. So, small example of, I'll share with you a small example of what we do as visual merchandisers. I hope it's clear for everyone the picture. I really hope that. We do sometimes things very crazy that we don't really, how to say it? We're not really restricted to the nature rules. Muhammad, if I'm speaking too much English, you can bring me back. Sorry, because this is what I'm used to. If you guys as well not really aligned with my English, قولولي, so I can shift in a way or another to Arabic. I'll try. So, As you see from these examples, we play with colors, we play with materials, we play with nature, gravity, we play with ideas. All this simply to reach to our customer impact. How can we impact our customer vision? We use different techniques from solitary display, we display only one product. As well, we can display the same product many times. Each and every display has its own objectives, and has its own type of customers. When you go to buy, expensive chair, it's not good to display 10 pieces of that same chair because it's expensive, it loses its value visually. So we usually display only one piece of that chair just to give that superstar feeling. If it's cheap or low price, as most of people prefer to call it in retail, low price, then we can display it in so many pieces. So this is a small example. We use our lighting, of course, levels, ups and downs. All these are design principles. So this is about visual merchandising. I hope the idea briefly been recognized from you guys. To our next topic. Yes, let me maybe take a point and share with you the visual merchandising in Saudi Arabia, as ArchiNet is Saudi Arabian platform, and most of our audience, I believe, from Saudi Arabia.
Yes,
visual
Muslim.
merchandising. Sorry?
So yes, we can ask everyone now if they have questions to write it down, not in the chat, write it somewhere before we go to the second point, just to share it once we finish this presentation. رجاء إذا في عندكم أسئلة إذا ممكن تحضروها تكتبوها على جنب على ورقة أو شيء، بعدين ممكن ترسلوها على الشات بس يخلص مسلم من البرزنتيشن الجزء الثاني. شكرا.
Thank you. So visual merchandising is very new to Saudi Arabia. I believe it's been there for quite a long time. I don't really know since when, but probably since 10 years up to 15 years maybe of visual merchandising. But the good thing that in the past 3 to 4 years, visual merchandising start to be valued from the business owners and from customers. Now we start to see good shop windows. We start to see very good layout of certain brands. Of course, there are some others that really need to improve. We start to see very nice ideas, and it's progressing. The main focus now for Saudi Arabia, where I advise to develop the visual merchandising team, to invest in that, because as well, it's one of the main departments to bring such a good money and to raise the brand awareness and positioning in the market. As well, because of this pandemic, visual merchandising has its own more value to support the brand, the business. As visual merchandisers, we have so many different techniques, skills, qualities that we can support the business not to let it down, or even not to keep it average. There are so many different reasons that other brands has a successful experience during this pandemic that invested in their visual team. So what I believe is there is a great opportunity especially in Saudi Arabia, since it's I'm really happy of the Saudi market, to be honest. It's quite open. People and customers and business owners, they're really hungry to distinguish comparing to each other. The competition is really high. The competition now, it's not only about the price of the product or the name of the brand. The competition now in your value for money. How can you show and explain to the customers their investment when they go to buy from you, not from other brand? How to reach to the customers from your online shop as well from your physical shop, regular physical shop. In this, let me, Muhammad, maybe go to the next topic, retail in Saudi Arabia, and the impact of a couple of things of the economy, and how are we expecting, what are we expecting to happen to shops and retail business in the Saudi market. Saudi market is an example of the rest of GCC, of course. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
So we all know that Saudi Arabia now started taxes as well. It's been raised. Saudi Arabia, it's almost 40 million in the country, right? Correct me if I'm
It's
wrong.
about 32.
Or 32, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. The 32 are not all local Saudis. It's really, I don't know, I always consider it beautiful to have different nationalities, different backgrounds in one country, and Middle East and GCC is really excelling in that. One of them is Saudi Arabia. But as all the world, the economy has got infected of what happened because of the pandemic. So this gonna as well return on the type of shops, investments from the number of the team, let's say for visual merchandiser, and of course for the rest of the departments, deduction of the manpower, deduction of store opening, and deduction as well, even for the new stores that gonna open, gonna be different because of the new rules of health and safety and economy as well. As well, the main new thing that start to be obvious to everyone, the online shops. So the challenge and the opportunity in the same time, how can we blend the physical shop with the online shop? If we look now into the online shops and we go to from the same brand and we go to the same to the physical shop, we see a big difference between the web shop and the physical. So now the mission is how to connect this to that in order to secure and fulfill the best of shopping experience. Usually the shopping experience starts from the website, from the web shop from the application, whatever is online platform that customers use, until they go to the physical shop. Now the business, there is an estimation made by the economics that by 2050, there will be only online shops. I'm not really into this idea, but I'm just saying what I found. What I believe is what's happening now is releasing the pressure from the physical shops and putting it to balance with the online. So for this, it requires a new job description. As we're talking now on visual merchandisers, so lately we start to recognize online visual merchandisers. What I believe now is that brands has to really seriously look after this topic. Invest in your visual merchandisers that you have and develop them, upgrade them to be a part of them to be online visual merchandisers, and they're gonna connect the web shop to the physical store. Let's say, as an example, how can we bend this? The shop window, as it's the first interaction between the customers and the brand. It's the first marketing tool. It's the first interactive media. How can we reflect this in the web shop? There are so many tools that now start to be obvious to everyone, from artificial intelligence to virtual reality to etc. How can we bring this to the web shop? 3D is really developing the shopping experience, online shopping experience, and I believe the business owners or directors, managers, etc. need to look after this in building their vision and structuring their strategies later on, because the shift, I don't believe it's a shift, I believe it's a band to balance. So you're gonna have like two flow of money from the online and from the physical shop. In this order, as visual merchandiser, I would advise everyone to develop their teams. I believe everyone have his own team. They are good, and you need to only like look after it. Saudi Arabia, in this point, online shopping it's quite, I don't like to say surprising, but I'm really like taking it as a good example for the online shopping. It's the second in Middle East in the online shopping. The first is UAE, the second is Saudi Arabia, then Egypt. So the potential of the brands, of the businesses is really, really high if they can take advantage from this. Especially now we have Amazon entered to the Saudi market. Congratulations. And this will create a great challenge when it comes to securing your brand positioning. So in this order, how can we measure our success, either in physical or online? We need first to study the potential and the opportunities of the market, from the range of ages to the wallet to the expectations. Saudi Arabia is almost 60% of its population is under 30, which is really young market. This generation is really open and hungry for anything new, for any new experience, etc., and very educated. Saudi Arabia has, I believe, like more than 15 nationalities, probably almost 15 nationalities it has in its territory. Saudi Arabia is really big territory. When it comes to internet, Saudi Arabia, internet, logistics, anything that facilitate the trading. I believe Saudi Arabia is quite developed, quite developed in this, and especially the past 3 years. And I believe during the pandemic, everyone agrees that Saudi Arabia is one great example to follow, even from other countries. My country, I'm from Tunisia, and I believe Saudi Arabia is a great example for me as Tunisian, or for my country to follow. There is always one highlight I always like to share it with my clients, and I really like to focus on the new generations, Z and Alpha. Z, I believe it's like from 2000, and Alpha from 2010. These two generations, especially the generation Alpha, I believe the oldest one in this generation now is like almost 11 years. In the next 5 years will be, we will see a different market, a different shopping experience because of these two generations, and especially because of Alpha generation, because they are born with the technology. Now we're talking about artificial intelligence, now we're talking about virtual reality, and these guys will be living with it. It's not a tool, it's a lifestyle for them. So I believe we have to build our strategies and vision to consider these two generations, because they are the future customers. And now we can see even almost everywhere that 15 years old girl or boy, they own their own business and they make more than I do in 10 years. Like this, we can build a great vision. Again, just to kind of wrap up, two things in our vision we need to focus on: blending the online and the physical, and considering the next generation, which gonna define our success as brand, as business. How much are we satisfying them or building satisfying shopping experience? Of course, this gonna require new tools for visual merchandisers, new tools for even the retailers themselves, integrating more into artificial intelligence and virtual reality. We can see in some applications it's really well integrated. How can you dress? How can you try the dress and you're from your place at home, and you can decide based on that you go for it or not. So many other tools in this point. business behavior as well need to develop, because our customers are in need of our expertise. How can we facilitate this transition? How can a customer that used only to shop from a store, that, by the way, the direction is to reduce the size of the stores. Since we're gonna have, let's say, 50-50 chances between the online shop and the physical shop, this gonna require later on to reduce the size of the shop. So reducing the size of the shop, the physical shop, gonna require reducing the range, gonna require reducing the stock. Some shops start to experience this through the pop-up stores as trial, and it starts to be successful. You can see it everywhere, almost in Dubai, the pop-up stores, the concept stores. The idea is to always keep satisfied customers with whatever adaptation that we as retailer need to do. So, visual merchandisers need to develop these skills, these tools. They're gonna need training, they're gonna need to experience it, etc. This will as well require a new qualifications. All this, I believe, retail owners and managers need to have a sit and decide on it together with, of course, the creative department managers. So I hope it was clear.
Thank you, Muslim. I think it was very informative talk. A lot of details there. We started having questions, but first the question I have question, because I used to have working in retail but projects somehow. Do you think the project the stores owners should invest in training for visual merchandising, because it's more practical experience and you need to learn about the products, about the brand, about the heritage of the brand and the culture of the brand, so you can do a proper visual merchandising. Isn't that true?
Definitely, yes. If you just look at some successful brands, and let's take this period of pandemic, the brands that been successful in, I believe they took the chance and the opportunity to invest in their teams. I'll not mention but which brands, but I can share later on the list of them, and you can recognize that these brands, not necessarily to be like international brands or very known brands, by the way, but the way how they dealt with the pandemic was quite good. Quite good to take them as an example. Of course, the training not only to the visual merchandisers, of course, to as well to the sales, to everyone.
Yeah, because all of them are connected actually.
Yes, yes, but visual merchandisers, because the whole world now is turning to visual. When you go to a web shop, everything you see is visual. So you're gonna need qualified visual merchandiser who knows what to do, who have a good case full of skills towards that, to secure for you a great visitation, a great shopping experience, and a great brand positioning, money-wise and identity-wise. It's the change. It's happening. So
Yeah.
It's quite good.
So the first question from Loay, he says, in visual merchandising solutions, clients are usually more sensitive in displaying the items, perhaps more than designing their own rooms. Did you notice the difference between working with clients designing homes, restaurants, etc., and clients of merchandise design?
Sorry, I couldn't really hear the last.
Okay, I will read the question. Did you notice the difference between working with clients designing homes, restaurants, etc., and clients of merchandise design?
Of commercial design.
Yes.
Yes, it's two different fields actually, but we start to see kind of connection. Where let me phrase it in the proper way. The skills that visual merchandiser has, it's mainly a commercial presentation skills that a designer who's gonna design a restaurant, as we all know now, especially in Saudi Arabia, I really like see it everywhere now, that every coffee shop or restaurant, they have their own commercial part where they sell their product. So I believe that commercial designer need as well to have the proper knowledge about visual merchandising, because as I mentioned, visual merchandising is kind of knowledge of psychology, how you influence customers to buy. And we have our own tools. I do both actually. I do visual merchandising, commercial design. I used to do interior design a long time ago, of course, with the furniture design. And I believe they can band it together. Just you get the right knowledge and that's it, you can manage it.
Okay, second question from Alia. How can the storytelling for concept stores, multiple products and different brands work through the visual merchandising?
Very good question. Very good question. First, you have to secure one theme in concept stores. Don't really make so many different styles in your presentation. So you need to secure your grouping, how you're gonna group your products, depending on the brand. The colors that you're gonna have in your products, as well in your space. The space that you're gonna segregate to your products, you always need an air to breathe, especially with the concept stores. It's not easy to arrange the proper way. So you just block it. My advice was what I do. I always like block either the brands or the designers, mainly the designers. I try to connect them together. So the vision when I enter, or the customer when they enter to the store, they find it very smooth and very clear. Yes, you can have a part you break the visual, especially if you have like 100 meters plus concept store, square meter, 100 square meters or plus, because it's big, it gives you the luxury of making breaks in your store. That's it.
Okay.
I hope it's clear. If it's not clear, come back to me in private message or anything as you like. Sorry.
Okay. The last question. What is the relation between the visual merchandising team and the buying team and the sales team in retail store, let's say furniture, or could be interior products or architectural materials, whatever?
Let me re-say your
okay, I'll
the
tell you the question again.
What's the relationship between visual merchandiser team,
yes,
sales and the logistics,
buying team? No, buying team.
Buying team, sales and buying team.
Yes.
Okay, so the buying team are experts in knowing what sells more and what sells the best in that market or in that specific area. Okay. So the visual merchandiser since the visual merchandiser doesn't really have that connection with the first designer of the product, the intermediary between the designer and the visual merchandiser is the buyer. So we really need to strengthen this communication channels with the buyers. Why did you buy them? For what category of customers are you planning to sell the most? Is it related to specific period of the year, specific events? You can get this as much as you can. So you can build the best story around that group of products. If you have like a furniture, you have a collection, let's say collection X. You need to know more about this collection, material-wise, durability, designer, where it was made in. Sometimes the designer is Saudi, but it was produced in Korea. So you need to find this connection. You need to find these small details from the buying team so you can translate it to a beautiful story in your room.
So these are all the questions that we had so far. If anyone have any questions before we wrap up. So just to wait a few seconds if anyone have a question so we can.
Sure, yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, maybe this connected more to the future of stores. The space of the stores will be less. The visitation most probably will be less. And we're gonna have rules, health and safety, new rules that we need to respect when we plan our store. Plus, we need to make in consideration our online shop. Our online shop gonna take some part of our range, some part of our money from the physical shop. So we just need to seriously take a sit and think and build strategies how can we connect these two together in order to achieve our goals.
Thank you, Muslim. Thank you for
welcome.
accepting our invitation. Thanks everyone who was
Thank you so much for
today.
the invitation. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Muhammad, ArchiNet. Thank you, guys. If you need any support or thing, just text me in private. Thank you so much.
Can you write your email down here before we wrap up? So if anyone wanted to contact you.
Voila.
Oh, just a second, because you write it in. Just I will write it down.
Sure, yes.
شكرا مسلم.
شكرا محمد. شكرا.
مع السلامة.